Alrighty, we're live.
Oh, all right, all right.
Zombie, do you want to do a camera now? If not, it's all good.
Yeah, I'm putting my camera on. Wait! Ooh,
I can't see his face.
I don't know if it's gonna let me because my stream.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
are you streaming right now?
No,
I was
he was.
Oh.
going to, but.
But you had better things to do, of course, right?
He had stuff to do, yeah.
What the fuck is going on with my camera?
Hi, chat. I'll be starting up in just a few moments here. We're just kind of getting ready a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So I'd like to start our conspiracy theory podcast episode on a little man known as Hitler. You guys ever hear of that guy?
Hold on, Biscuit. Hold on.
I'm not sure.
You're getting ahead of yourself here.
What the hell's a virtual camera?
So if you just... Oh, there you go. See, I see
what
you
the
now.
Fuck?
That looked messed up.
Oh, no.
Let's try that again.
Okay. What the fuck just happened? Oh. Okay. I figured out what the virtual camera does.
Mm-hmm.
We're all good.
Okay.
Closing this shit out. Screw it.
Oh, not...
Camera
Oh,
won't
oh,
work.
there we go.
Okay,
Okay,
there it goes.
perfect. Alright, give me a
Shalom.
second here. Pop out.
Blue, how do you spell shalom, Bit Blue?
I have no idea.
You can only spell it in Arabic.
Okay. Let me see here. Zombie cam. This one? No, this one. Yes, there you are.
Shalom, brother.
Okay, I gotta edit this now.
I've never seen a Jewish people ever say shalom.
Yes.
Do they say it? I've never
Yeah.
seen them do it. Only in church, right?
No.
What does shalom mean?
It's like
So
peace
like
be
hi?
with you. Like it's basically like
Oh.
saying hi.
Oh, okay.
I'm fucking dead, dude.
Biscuit's kind of special. Don't worry about
Biscuit is very special. I'm surprised they let him in Mexico. I'm not gonna lie. I honestly thought this kid was going to say some very dumb stuff.
Look, man.
it. All right, y'all ready?
Max. What was I going to say? I forgot. You guys are special too, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
guys are
No,
Thank
very
you.
special.
Biscuit, you're dumbass. They'd be like, "Why are you traveling to Mexico? And who's this?" You'd be like, "That's my father. I'm here for drugs." And they'd be like, "All right, sir, step aside."
All right.
Like-
So let's go ahead and get this started off. Today
I
is
probably
our.
don't want to say that though,
Biscuit, shut the
because
hell
I'm
up.
not.
Shh, 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 shh. Okay, so today is our 6th podcast. Today we're going to be talking about conspiracy theories. Our other podcasts that we did stream on Glimesh was episode 4 and 5 are up on YouTube, which you can view linked below. Today we're joined by our guest Zombie. Say hello.
Shalom.
Hi, he's a recurring guest.
Jewish.
Maybe he'll be permanent. He's probably like 1%. I know I'm 1%.
Something like that.
Isn't there like the one drop rule thing?
Did you get a new tattoo?
No, I still got the 2. And
Oh,
then the 3rd.
oh, I never
Have
seen
you
that.
really never read this?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I read that.
Oh wait, no, yeah, well, I've seen that.
Yeah, an Emelon
I
Live.
forgot.
No.
I seem to forget. Anyhow, Biscuit, would you like to start us off with our first conspiracy theory?
Yeah. You guys ever hear of Hitler?
Yeah. He's
Well,
famous,
Perhaps.
perhaps.
Some would say.
Biscuit, does he live in South America and he never died and he took a U-boat across from Germany with a couple of other people and sailed to South America where he lived in Argentina?
No.
Then what?
Go and
You
explain
know
the
what?
conspiracy,
You know what,
Biscuit.
Zombie? You think you know everything, huh? You think you know? You think you're so smart, huh?
No, I'm a sucker for history.
Luckily, we got like 20 other theories. Thanks. All right, what's
So, Biscuit, if you want to clarify that entire theory, go right ahead.
So look, Hitler was losing. He was, in Germany,
Mhm.
and the Allies were coming from every side, specifically the Russians, because they wanted to get there first.
Yeah.
And so he knew this guy was screwed. He screwed the pooch bad. So
Mhm.
the story is that he gave his dog cyanide to see if it worked. Then his wife took the cyanide, and then she died. And then he took the cyanide, but for some reason he shot himself afterwards. But the thing is, when the Russians got there, they say they found the bodies,
Mm-hmm.
but we never got to see the bodies.
Mm-hmm.
The Russians took it back to Russia. They said, "Oh, we'll show the Allies later," and then Stalin kept moving the deadline forward. No one ever saw the body, and everything we know about Hitler's death is just hearsay. Some people theorize, like many German officials, that he got in a U-boat and got to Argentina.
Well, part of
Go on.
that what they're actually missing is that the Russians actually did DNA testing on him, and it was that of a woman's body that they found.
Like his wife.
Yes, they never
But
found
why
his
would he
body.
kill his wife and not him? It'd be a
I
pretty sick
imagine
way of
what
getting
happened.
divorced.
I imagine what happened was they were like, all right, suicide pact, and then he chickened out. That's probably what happened.
The story is he took the cyanide pill, but then the Russians were getting there too quickly apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But a cyanide pill kills you almost instantly. Why would he shoot himself afterwards? That's the flaw in the Russian story.
Mm.
And they never saw the body. Apparently Stalin had it, but he never showed anyone.
Interesting.
And so many other German high-ranking officials ended up in Argentina, along with so many U-boats on the coast of it.
Mm-hmm.
Theory is he went to Argentina, and then again, the Israelis
Mm-hmm.
after World War II had their, find German Nazis and kill them operation.
Mm-hmm.
And they, they killed a bunch of guys. A couple guys got tortured.
Mm-hmm.
They spilled the beans that maybe Hitler was in Argentina, but others just say that they said that because they were being tortured.
Yeah. Want to know something a little crazy? The
What?
Allies spent millions upon millions of dollars actually still looking for Hitler after he was already gone.
Yeah.
And what's even crazier is that they even sent Navy ships to like this Antarctic, like down south, to look for like bases because there was like actual Nazi bases down there.
Dude, there is Nazi bases all over the
Now,
world.
I was gonna say, now I want to get into that little thing, that little spiel right there. The Nazis going to fucking what was it? The North Pole that they went to?
I can't remember if they went up north or
I
down
think they went to Antarctica.
Antarctica.
Yeah. Which is basically a pole. I don't know which one.
Yeah, the northern pole, I would believe.
Maybe.
But because the only reason why I say the northern pole is because now the northern pole is restricted to scientific research only,
Mm-hmm.
and you're only allowed there with special access.
Mm-hmm.
And the Germans went to the North Pole.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck did the Germans leave or do on the North Pole? That it's scientists only with very, very, very special permission to go up there.
Hitler was a bit of a crazy man. He spent some part of the war looking for
Artifacts.
like the
He sent
he was,
actual
Jesus.
Yeah, he sent actual
Or,
SS divisions to look for
the-
artifacts.
The Holy Grail and stuff.
Yeah, he was actually really into it to the point where he would
Yeah.
have you know how there's like the Knights of the Round Table, like he did that.
Yeah.
Like he would have meetings in like castles and stuff like that. He was very, very religious.
Yeah, man. He was in World War One, but his life was spared by a British soldier.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how that British soldier
Actually,
fell after that.
Hold on, Biscuit.
So
hold on. Where the fuck did you hear that his life was spared by a British soldier?
So
because, you want to tell it?
Yeah, so basically the story is, right, Hitler gets wounded and is running away because his force is retreating, and the British soldier sees him, points the rifle at him, and then decides, in an act of kindness, not to kill him. Because he doesn't know it's like, Hitler, yet, because that hasn't come to pass yet. And what ended up happening in the future is that Hitler had an entire massive painting commissioned of that soldier, and he kept it in one of his castles, I believe, in Vienna.
I think so Neville Chamberlain was the prime minister before the other guy, the big guy, the drunk guy.
Winston Churchill.
Yeah, that guy. And then he came in and he saw this big painting and he's like, "Who's this?" And he's like, "Oh, that's the British soldier that saved my life."
Yeah.
And apparently he knew which one he was, and the British soldier, I think he changed his name because he was getting so scrutinized.
Yeah.
Like he he basically, you know, changed his whole life because of this whole ordeal that he saved this one guy.
Yeah, Hitler is actually one of the soldiers in the trenches during the
World War.
ceasefire.
Yeah.
Yeah, during the
Oh yeah,
Christmas
for
ceasefire,
the
and
for
he was like a
Christmas.
lieutenant, and he refused to go out. He was so mad about it.
Yeah. He was cause, and look, here's another thing. In that winter where the troops decided not to kill each other,
Hmm.
afterwards the main officials there were telling the soldiers to go back to killing each other and they wouldn't. I think someone got court-martialed.
Yeah, I
And
believe it.
so it was really sad because they had to start shooting each other again and they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, yeah. Alrighty, should we move on?
I was about to
Yeah.
say, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Mhm.
you do know why Hitler had the little stubby mustache, right?
No.
No, I
Now,
don't know why. Actually.
Hitler was in the trenches alongside of other German soldiers in World War One,
Mhm.
and they teach you in the military that you always have a clean shaven face for the reason of you have proper suction to your face with the gas mask.
Mhm.
Well, now what happened with Hitler is they winded up doing a mustard gas attack. Hitler, being Hitler, had a nice long beard or a nice long fucking mustache. So whenever he had the fucking gas mask, when he go put it on, his mustache was stopping the seal from sealing, where mustard gas is seeping in. So Hitler, being Hitler, got to hold his fucking breath as long as he can, and fucking eventually decides, hey, chop chop, gas mask still fits on. Gas mask can seal now with the shorter stubby mustache, and just winded up, I guess, keeping it like that. But I do know he was involved with that BS in World War One to where he had to do that.
Chops is chops.
Interesting.
What?
Yeah, they called them chops, right? Like sideburns, but
No.
they stretch really long.
No, Biscuit. He's talking about like a long mustache, like a handlebar mustache. Not a handlebar mustache, but like a.
Like he had a bigger mustache that would go, because you're, where the fuck does it seal to? Your mask seals to here. So literally where your cheekbones are, your mask comes down, seals right here, seals this, seals all up here. And if you have a mustache out to here, beard out to here, you go to fucking blow out and suck in, your gas mask isn't gonna seal.
Yeah,
Because of your facial hair. So
Yeah. Interesting.
There's
Shall we
a
move
couple
on?
stories about Hitler. Like he didn't get into art school. That's a big famous one.
Yeah.
And he when his mother died, he took it incredibly hard. That even the doctor who was there, he noted it in his book that he was. This is the most grief he's ever seen in anyone.
Yeah. That happened.
I think his father married his cousin.
Is something like that. His father was apparently pretty abusive to him.
Yeah, that's usually what happens when you get dictators, like Stalin as well.
Yeah. Anyhow, let's move on to another conspiracy theory. So I have one that's pretty famous one. It's actually about Roswell, New Mexico, and the UFO crashing.
Oh. First of all, do you guys believe in aliens?
yes.
Yeah, I'd say there's a pretty good chance there is.
What if they got here illegally?
Shut the hell up.
Deport him back to space.
You got a big cannon.
Wile E. Coyote cannon. Anyhow,
all right.
So basically, people believe that it was a UFO crash, but in reality, it wasn't really a weather balloon, but it kind of was, which was what the U.S. Army was stating. What actually it was because this was like the Cold War. What we did have was microphones like deep in the ocean that there was like a certain wave or certain like depth in the ocean where you can basically hear for miles and miles. And so they're like, all right, well, if it's in the ocean, maybe it's in the air too. So they send these weather balloons up, and sure enough, hey, there is there, right? So now they're able to detect if they're doing, the Russians are doing nuclear tests underwater or above land now, or on land. And eventually one of these weather balloons ends up crashing, and that's what ends up being Roswell, New Mexico's thing. And now obviously the U.S. military doesn't want anybody knowing about it, especially the Russians, so they say, hey, it's just a regular weather balloon. So everyone thinks, oh, whoa, conspiracy. So yeah. And these documents are declassified now, so you can actually look this up yourself.
I heard they found like little bodies.
No.
That the U.S. government called like Mendel's experiments.
Mendel's experiments. Never heard of that.
Like, well, he didn't call it Mendel's experiments, but Mendel had a bunch of experiments where he would torture and deform beings.
Oh, you mean Mengele?
Yeah, Mengele.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. He did that a lot. He would like torture twins and
Oh yeah,
change their
Oh,
eyes.
yeah. I
That
was gonna
guy.
say, yeah, I know about that.
Yeah, that guy.
He would do a lot of stuff. Even the Japanese, they would do a lot of stuff, and because they did that, we know so much about humans' biology. You could say by torturing people.
Yeah.
Like they would put a person's hand in like in a really cold thing, and they would see his hand freeze, and they would try to find out how long it takes to get hypothermia.
Yeah, I believe in the movie The 12th Man, they actually did that testing in Norway to see how long you could survive in freezing waters.
You can
So
survive
So they
pretty
did a
long.
lot of tests. Yep. So what they ended up doing, right? They'd take these POWs and they'd put them in freezing water to see how long they'd survive.
Torture as dog shit is that?
Well, it's
Well,
not
I
really
mean-
it's not really torture, but I mean it is, but it's
It is torture. Yeah, I mean
Yes.
that'd be torture for me.
yeah, that's pretty bad. But like they did it to find out, all right, how long can you stay in the water for in freezing temperatures? I
How
believe
long was it?
the Japanese that actually goes along with the boat I was talking about last time. Oh, what was it called?
The Titanic?
No, not the Titanic. Madame Madame or something. Madame.
What?
But the ghost ship, right, where everybody died. Right.
There's a lot of
So
ghost ships like that.
okay,
for some
so
reason.
to reaffirm basically what I said last time, I think this was like on the first podcast. Basically, there was this ship that was transporting cargo, and in that cargo was gold, and everyone assumed that was haunted because after a certain period of time, people started going crazy on the ship, and one of the last transmissions that they got from the ship was "I die now," or something like
wow.
that. Now they end
I
up
die now,
finding
that's very-
the boat like less than 24 hours later, and everybody on the ship is dead and like basically in a form of rigor mortis, and they're like completely like their bones and the way they're shaped and moved around is crazy, and they're like frozen in time, and every single person on that ship had dread and fear in their face when they died,
Damn. What's the name of the ship?
including a dog, the madame, something like that, madame, right? And one of the things as to why that happened was because you know how like the Japanese were doing a bunch of chemical testing during World War II.
Yeah.
What's believed is that that ship was carrying, after the war, those chemicals, and that's why all those people died like that. And when they ended up finding the boat, they tried towing it back, and within like a few moments, the ship blew up.
Bruh.
And no one can find it now. Like it's somewhere in the bottom of the ocean. They can't find it. They haven't found it yet.
When it blew up, they just kind of ran. They're like, oh, all
No,
right.
so they were towing
Okay.
it, and they ended up being successful in detaching the tow in time.
But they didn't like mark down, oh, this ship blew up here. Might want to check out later.
Well, it wouldn't really matter
Well,
because
what
it's
year
gonna
was it?
move. It's gonna move. This was like right after World War II.
I mean,
like
we
l-
found the Titanic, right? I mean,
Sure,
But-
because their position was actively marked.
yeah.
They
I mean,
were
but
they were
it's-
going to the last known location, and it was like miles upon miles away.
Yikes.
So like, yeah, they're not gonna end up finding it. But yeah, that was so. Yeah, everyone thought, oh, the ship's haunted, but no, it's widely believed that it was just chemicals that were ended up getting accidentally released.
Probably alien abduction.
Could be. So yeah,
That's a crazy story. Like they died of fear, basically.
Yep.
Damn. There was a couple experiments, like the Russian sleep experiment, where they would put this
That was-
gas in the chamber with 4 Nazis, and they would see how long it
well, that
they
wasn't real.
wouldn't go to sleep for. That wasn't real.
No,
I
that's
was gonna say there is a
That's like a
very
creepypasta.
lot of fucking dark, twisted ass tortures
mhm,
and people and the way people die, and it's just like,
definitely.
through all that.
All right,
Damn.
Biscuit.
You guys know about that Amelia Earhart story?
No.
How she was the first woman to like become a pilot, I think, or something. Not the first.
The
but
first one to fly,
First
try to
one to
fly,
fly.
to attempt to
Yeah,
fly
she-
around the world or something
She
like
flew
that.
the Atlantic, I think, and then she tried to flew around the world, and then they never found her.
Yep.
And people want to know why.
Probably because she ran out of
What
fuel
happened?
and crashed.
But like they know where, like in like a general area. It was near China. Because she was gonna travel around the world, but of course she had to get gas, and she would stop in place to place like an island hopper, and she
Mhm.
would get gas.
Mm-hmm.
But this time she didn't make it, I suppose. And what was the thing that would have caused her to lose gas? Because it was all very finely positioned
Could
to
also
see how
just be
much
the
gas it
weather.
would take.
Like planes back then weren't that great.
I mean, it was World War II. They were okay.
They're okay, but not really that great. You know.
It was two people. It was Amelia Earhart, and then there was another person who was like a mapper guy, like a geography guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he would tell her where to go.
Yep.
People say they landed on an island. There's this photo that went around that they say they ended up in a Chinese jail where they died, or this other island that's full of crabs. And I think they found some some actual artifacts there, an island full of crabs. I think it was. You got a transmission maybe too about like a person stuck on an island, but they never thought it was Amelia Earhart.
Interesting.
I was gonna ask, have y'all heard of the story of the 5 pilots that went through the Bermuda Triangle? And
Maybe.
so I forgot where they went on a training mission, I believe, out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Oh yeah.
Or somewhere else around Florida, and they winded up going a few miles off the coast and getting like their or all their compass, their gauges, everything was going AWOL. Well, for whatever reason they couldn't, that's stupid. Like, so I guess they're pretty much lost out at sea, but right off the coast of Florida. And whenever they would go down lower than the clouds, all they would see is ocean for miles and miles in every which direction. So they couldn't tell which way was land, what way was open sea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, sure enough, hear me out on how freaking freaky this gets. And everybody knows exactly where they crashed at, or guarantees they know where they crashed at. So they wind up getting lost, running out of fuel. Mayday, 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 no answer. Go down, crash. Nobody knows where they are, quote unquote. Well, sure enough, somebody, I don't know how long after it happened, they pointed it out, that said, hey, there's a government restricted area in the middle of fucking BFE. And everyone's like, wait, hold up. So sure enough, I believe it's in what the hell was it? I think it was Savannah, Georgia,
Oh wow.
or something
That's
like
really
that.
far away.
There's basically a state right above Florida in a swamp that there was literally nothing in before, and apparently there is still nothing there now. There was no training or anything that ever went on in that swampy area, but sure as shit, that whole entire swampy area is now government restricted and no trespassing.
So you think they crashed there?
Absolutely.
Well, the
No
government
doubt
covered
about
it
it.
up.
Because
There's
it just seems too much of coincidence that before they went up and gone missing, that it was never considered restricted area via the government. And then sure enough, they crash about a year later, goes by, the government's like, hey, this is a restricted area. Nobody's allowed in here.
Well, did they say why they restricted the area? Did they say why they restricted the area?
No. They refused to
Blockbusters.
put out why,
So
But it's
there's
just
another
like-
story similar to that in Australia that happened. But can you finish your story there, Zombie?
Oh, yeah, basically. I was just going to point out, just like in the middle of Ocala National Forest, how the Navy has a bombing range, which literally they use for training. But you basically have to get lost in the middle of BFE of Ocala and the National Forest to find their bombing range. and
Oh,
hence
wow.
hence literally they put it in the middle of BFE. It is completely gated off with barbed wire on the top,
Mm.
and they literally go out there and perform training missions. But
So
you
you have
see
to
what?
get behind it.
Yeah, you see
Oh.
the general point of that though, where one there's literally nothing out there and it's restricted. The other one is literally trailing for public trail riding, and you can go out front like I did and take a picture in front of the bombing range.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's lit.
So in Australia, there was this one guy who he was into UFOs beforehand, but he went to what was it? The bottom part of Australia. The nice part was Sydney. He
I'll
was
be right
flying
back. I get
around.
water.
Yeah, he was flying around, and he was telling the operator how there was another plane nearby, and the operator was like, "Nah." And then he's saying, "Oh, I'm seeing this aircraft right behind me. It's looking like it's not moving, but it's right on top of me." And he keeps
Mhm.
doing that for like about 5 minutes,
Mhm.
and then after that, he's saying the craft is getting closer to me. It's now on the bottom of me. And then at the end, his last words are, "That's not an aircraft." And they never find him since.
It was a really
There's like
big
a real
pelican.
recording.
I want to hear that. If you could find that recording, I'd love to listen to it.
Let me see. Also, near the Bermuda Triangle, when Christopher Columbus was going by, he noted on his notebook that this compass was acting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
So
I'm out. All right. Do you have any more? Because
I
trying to find the
have
video.
1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 more I got. I imagine you have a lot more.
Yeah.
So you had a little list there.
I have one that I just wait for Zombie to come back with.
Yeah, I say we wait on Zombie to come back.
See, so pilot who got abducted in Australia. Do you think people have gotten abducted before?
If aliens have came here, then there's the potential for that, I suppose.
I mean, why would they do it?
To study us.
Yeah, but
So there's this one movie that I just recently watched, and it's, I can't remember what it was called, but it's basically the idea of, you know how you take some some species out of the environment to study them, to understand them, so you can help them, and then you put them back.
yeah, that's only
That's
when there's very
that,
little of them.
that's kind of like the idea with people, is if the aliens come to abduct us and then put us back, they're studying us to figure out what we are, how we operate, and how, if they are benevolent, how they might help us.
I'll be honest with you.
I think I'm alone here. Anyhow, we're gonna wait for Zombie and Biscuit to come back.
Hey, what's up? All right, so what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, there's a theory that the U.S. government is working with aliens, so the aliens can remain anonymous because there's one government and they're rich and they're gonna get found. So it's better if they work with the government in order to stay secret. It makes sense.
There's a potential for that, but the amount of individuals that would have to remain silent on that is quite a lot.
Well, I mean, you don't have to tell everyone. You just have to have like 2 guys in the CIA who are upper level and just brief the president. Because
No.
like so many weird things.
Okay, think
happen
about it
on
like
the
this. Right, so you have to operate a site, right? So that requires administration. That requires a lot of staff, on-site staff, right? That's hundreds, if not thousands of individuals, right? And if that's
Well,
going
I mean,
on all around the world, then you probably have over 100,000, if not millions of individuals opting to remain completely silent about it.
no, I mean, oh yeah, because look, there was this guy who he came forward. He worked at the Israeli space program,
Mm-hmm.
and then he came forward saying that the U.S. government was actively working with aliens.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I don't think it would take hundreds of thousands of people. You just need a couple high-ranking officials of every,
But
military in the
it
world.
can't just be a couple of those, because those aren't just the people working on it, right? It's the people that are also on site. So that's where the hundreds of thousands, millions of individuals come into play, because now
What
those
if
people have contact with other people, and so on and so forth.
What if I told you some of those aliens were disguised as humans?
Could be.
But look, there's another thing. There's a phenomenon when presidents enter the presidency, they completely change their status on world views. Like you could have a president saying, "Oh, we're gonna leave the Middle East completely, like in a day, blah blah blah,"
Mm-hmm.
and then they get briefed by the CIA, and they just completely change their foreign policy.
Interesting.
So it's like they put the fear of God in the president, and ever keep
Could
going.
be.
I think what they say is like, "Oh, we're about to do this. Don't kick us out,"
Well, I mean, they are instantly become privy to a lot of secret information.
Yeah. Is there anyone who has higher, like a national security clearance than the president?
Yes and no.
Because you think there's
The
go on.
the president is obviously, or let's use Trump for reference. Up until Trump got out of office, I had called him still my commander in chief because I served underneath him.
Yeah.
And he's the commander in chief and president of the United States. He has, don't quote me on this, I believe if they consider it levels, it's level 5 security clearance, like top security clearance. To where he obviously can know certain things, but other things, depending on who it is and what branch it's coming from, like NSA or CIA or anybody like that, they can decide, should we risk our job like nobody's business and not tell the president about this shit? And granted, sometimes they do it, other times he has security clearance to know whatever the fuck he wants to know. But like I said, about unless it's certain things.
Yeah.
I have a pretty good gut feeling that there's the agencies of the United States, the most powerful ones, like the CIA, the Navy, the Marines, like they get together and just be like, hey, let's not tell the president this specific stuff, because if they're the top highest guys, the president's gonna fire them off.
Well, hello, Lily.
Because the president is still, at the mercy of his top generals to some degree.
Certainly. Well, that's why there's always the I guess change of oh look at him.
Shut the fuck up,
What?
boy.
It's so cute. It's
I
so
literally
wholesome.
seen your just face change completely whenever she kissed me. I was like,
Oh, it's very
Luke got
wholesome.
jealous. You made him
Nothing.
jealous. You made him jealous.
That's very wholesome, zombie. That's very
God.
cute.
Yeah, very wholesome, bro. I about ripped her head off earlier.
Alrighty. What was I gonna say?
How you agree with me completely?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Thanks.
Like information between different groups is always separate. Like these agencies don't really work together a whole lot.
Well, yeah, because the agencies what's it called? They make little units. Like in this agency, we got this little unit. They handle these guys. This unit handle that. They don't talk to each other very much, unless the guy at the very top says so. So yeah. The only person that knows all of it is the director. And if all directors get together and say, "Hey, let's not tell this guy about it," or the director just simply says, "Yeah, I'm not going to tell the president because I don't want it," they can very much do so.
Basically, though, you have to seriously watch what the hell you say, who the hell you say it to, because you get drunk, you say one wrong thing to one wrong person. Guess what? You, your family, everybody you know, they gotta go. That plain and simple. Because
Yeah,
you spoke too much. It's like
Absolutely.
they consider it a breach of national security if you speak too much. So,
absolutely.
but also, what was I gonna say? The president is a very manipulative person. You can easily manipulate him if you're the director, because the people under him are the ones that bring up the choices. Like, hey, president, we're giving you, 4 options that we think are the best, but they could be, misinterpreting it and saying, "Oh, this one action we don't like specifically, so we're not going to show it to you, even though it might just be the action you choose."
Hmm.
So all the options that are presented to them are options that are favorable to the people under him, like the directors,
Interesting.
and that's how you manipulate
Hey
the
guys, give
president
me
and
1
his
sec.
foreign
I'll be right
policy.
back.
Okie dokie.
You just got to make all the other chases look, better,
He has to go smooch his wife.
probably. That was supposed to be your smooches.
He's stealing them from me.
He's accumulating debt.
Look at that! Look at
of
that! Look at that! You
smooches.
can see it in the.
Oh yeah, the shadow. We can
Hey,
see the shadows. Oh, we can't hear it. Oh,
shadow puppets.
I was wondering what Biscuit was laughing about. I was like, is he laughing about fucking Bob?
oh, is that Bomb?
Yes, this is Bob.
Oh, dude, that's crazy.
Dude, I bought him when I was 16 in freaking Tennessee, and I named him on a YouTube video Bob. And ever since I started streaming and kept doing YouTube after locking myself out of the freaking hotel room in 30-degree weather in shorts and a t-shirt, that was Bob, and he was in the hotel room. Anyways, y'all go
Bob-
back to what you're saying. I'll be right back.
Bob has lazy eyes.
Shut up. Leave him alone.
He was dropping on his head.
What's he
Alrighty.
doing? What were you gonna say? I was president's an easily manipulative man because you just show him the choices you want to show him, and then he
Yeah.
picks. You could be saying like, you got two options: nuke him, or do this one, which we advise.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the president's not going to choose to nuke him.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be like, "Oh, work me a whole new set of choices here, and my menu is not good."
Yeah.
Because it might be an operation that needs quick thinking.
Definitely. Definitely.
Look, man, we're going.
No.
Go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm
I
just gonna
wasn't-
wait for a zombie to come back because
That's
I got a
pretty
whole
much.
presentation going on for this one.
Yeah, that's
for
pretty
another
much what I was doing.
You were gonna make a presentation.
No, I was gonna talk about the next topic.
What's the next topic? Here's a little
Chemtrails.
teaser. Oh,
Chemtrails.
that's right. I wrote that one down too.
Yeah, that's why I said we had similar stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Mm.
What are
Did-
chemtrails? What is the point of chemtrails? People say it's just vapor from the engines on the plane, but I don't know, man. Like I've
Hmm.
seen planes without them, honestly.
Well, it's not the vapor from the engines. It's just the
It's just
Oh.
the
It's
frog
like-
gate turning chemicals.
No, it's that's actually kind of true.
Yeah, it was because the chemicals did in fact turn the frogs gay.
Yeah, it made them change their gender.
Gender.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear about that time they found Alex Jones watching transgender porn?
Let's not talk about that on the
Okay.
podcast.
It was on live on air. He was doing
Oh.
this whole show, and then he's like, "Oh, let me pull up my phone here," and then one of his tabs is that.
Interesting.
I
Interesting.
respect Alex Jones. You gotta respect the grind. That man, he's gone through a lot.
Do whatever makes you happy, as long
I
as
mean-
it's legal.
I don't care that you're watching transgender porn, right? We're not here to judge.
Sure, sure.
You don't. What do you mean? Sure. You don't sound
do
very
you mean?
sure about it.
I mean, if you want to do that, go right ahead. As long as it's
You're
legal.
not very supportive there.
That's not being supportive.
That's not being supported at all. Sure.
Interesting. Interesting. You know that NASA, like how like there's a bunch of different sites for NASA. None of them actually work together.
Really? I mean,
Yeah, they keep information from each other to the point where they could be
Why?
building the same tech at the same time. Like they could be so far ahead, but then they choose not to work together because they want to be the one that finds it.
damn, that's some 9/11 stuff.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a big plane crash, and they're gonna be like, "Well, I mean, if we worked together, blah blah blah, maybe we would have solved it." And then there's gonna be an Edward Snowden nerd just coming out saying, "Oh, we worked together. That was patriotic. I came in."
Well,
Blah,
because
blah,
they
blah.
because they had all the information beforehand, right? All these different agencies had pieces,
I mean, the director himself had to know it all, right?
probably.
You know, there has been explosions like that. Remember that one where the teacher went on the plane, the shuttle?
Mm-hmm.
When they were
Yep.
landing, a little piece of the plane came off, and the whole thing went. Look,
So
I
you
think it
know
was called Columbus.
you know the conspiracy about how you know that other plane that supposedly crashed during 9/11 because the passengers took over?
Oh yeah.
It didn't really crash.
What do you mean it didn't crash?
It was
What
shot
happened to
down.
it?
It was shot down.
Oh, that's right, by the Pentagon.
Mm-hmm. Because
Dude, and then the Pentagon
the
got hit.
passengers talked about how, hey, we got control now, and they were talking about how there was jets flying right next to them, like F-16s or whatever.
Oh.
And then it immediately like cuts off. And when the investigators went over to like investigate the plane crash, it didn't like crash. It was shot down by the way that all the debris was scattered, right? Because if they crashed, then it would be in like
Yeah.
a certain
Like a big
distance.
rubble.
But now it's like all over the place, as if it's been like shot down. So the
Yeah.
conspiracy is that they shot it down because of the fear of, hey, maybe it
Maybe they're lying.
maybe they don't land.
What? Oh, it's gonna hit an airport runway? Oh
Yeah.
no.
I mean,
Not the
none
airport
of those
runway.
people knew how to fly a plane.
Oh, it's because there wasn't any information. You know, I've seen some people who just don't know how to fly a plane pretty well.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
one suicidal guy who jumped on a plane and he just did loop-de-loops
Mm-hmm.
for like an hour and a half. And he was
Yep.
having fun with it.
Yeah.
So are we waiting for a zombie here? Because he seemed to have dipped.
Did he actually leave?
Yeah, he left.
Interesting. Alrighty, well, I guess we can continue without him.
Yeah, you want to go for the chemtrails or
Give me a
how
second.
things are created badly on purpose, which is mine. I take it. I claim it copyright. You
I'll
can't
do
take it.
mine real quick first, and then you can do
Alright.
yours, yeah? So basically the idea of chemtrails, right, is that people believe that the government is putting chemicals inside these planes to be dropped off over the atmosphere. And they believe that these chemicals are, like, used to basically control us for, like, mind control and shit like that.
But I mean, you'd have to have a pretty big operation, right?
It would
'Cause,
be, it would have to
It's just
be,
in the U.S.
well, they believe it's happening all over the world. So the amount of individuals it would take, that would probably be well over 1 million, because you have to take into account the crew, the pilots.
I mean, what if
Basically-
you just don't tell the pilots what they're dropping? You're
Well, the
like,
pilot-
oh, it's it's
Well,
weather
sure.
material.
Well, sure, but at that point, the people loading it in, how do you trust them?
They don't know either. I mean, that's just tanks to them. Could be oxygen for all they know.
Sure.
They're just a bunch of water.
At some point, one person gets curious, though.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
That's all it
that's
takes. All it takes.
But that's just so many conspiracy theories. That's how a conspiracy theory starts. It's the person that's curious, but they're not always true.
I don't know. I definitely don't believe it. It's
You don't believe it?
because it's basically just there's like basically water in the fucking sky, right? And that's basically what it is, right? Because of the amount of heat, so it ends up like it basically makes a cloud.
Oh, maybe if it's there's like a foggy day.
Yeah, and what a lot of also these some of these planes do is actually put salt in the air, so that makes it more likely to rain. So that could also be another thing as to
Oh,
what
yeah.
people are saying.
It makes the water heavier.
Yeah, it basically makes it form quicker. Like
Yeah,
a lot of
it's-
countries that don't really get a whole lot of water have to do that a lot.
I think Saudi Arabia does that.
Yep, they definitely do.
Saudi Arabia is pretty much like a whole country that's contained.
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
got a bunch of oil money.
Yep. One of their oil things was recently bombed.
Oh, really?
They don't know who did it.
They don't know who did it. Dude, imagine getting your most prized possessions bombed and you're like, well, who did it? I don't know.
Yep.
They haven't found out?
Pretty
Did they
messed
call
up.
it the Jamal Khashoggi missile? You
No,
know
I
what
don't think
happened
so.
to Jamal Khashoggi?
No, who was that?
He was a journalist in Saudi Arabia
Mhm.
that got killed by the prince himself. Not the prince, he wasn't there, but he got a bunch of cronies to do it for him.
Hmm.
Because there's so much evidence. Like, these guys did not cover the track well. Saudi Arabia is just a weird place overall. But you know, they also hacked Jeff Bezos' phone and leaked his nudes. Because
Gross.
Jeff Bezos was cheating on his wife.
I believe it. Didn't she make
Yeah,
like
that's
500 million or something like that off the
yeah, dude.
divorce?
She divorced him, and she got like no, she got billions, didn't she?
Probably. He is
Yeah, she
filthy
got
rich.
billions. That's
Good
like
for her.
yeah. I mean, like I cheated.
That's blood money, dude. That's like, ooh, that's a lot. You
Damn,
could.
imagine getting divorced and you take billions.
It's
Jeez.
okay. He made it back like 5 seconds later.
You think he would have signed a? He wouldn't have signed a prenup if he knew he was gonna be a billionaire.
Probably.
Huh. You think rich people sign like those prenups things that ensure that the money goes both ways if they?
A lot of people get touchy about prenups, and I don't really think they should be. You know, it's just security.
I mean, if you're not gonna sign a prenup, wait, what is a prenup? It's when you
Basically, it's you basically saying what is yours and what is theirs, right?
Oh, okay. So if you don't sign it.
So if you don't
So
sign it, then you basically equally own it now,
yeah, okay.
right? So that's why a lot of women end up taking like half the guy's shit.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't sign a if you sign a prenup, maybe your marriage is on the rocks there a little bit.
No, because
I mean,
you see like 10 years into the future,
well, I mean, you're if you're
right?
like
So
getting married, you're saying you're gonna be with this person forever, like
yes,
definitively.
but in the event that someone does something wrong, someone cheats on you, something bad happens to where the other person no longer likes it, can you say for certainty that you're going to be friends with the same people you are 10 years down the road?
Well, a person who's madly in love would say yes.
Hmm?
A person who's madly in love would say yes.
Sure. That's a mistake though, because it's just
Yeah, I
chemicals.
mean,
That's not really you thinking straight,
I
right?
think
All
I
it
think
because you should have security in knowing that, hey, I like this person. I want to spend the rest of my life with them. Great. Let's also get a prenup, because in the event something bad does happen, at least we're both secure.
I think people think signing a prenup is like
They think
not
it's bad.
having a good bond or a trust thing.
Yeah.
You don't trust your partner enough.
Yeah.
If you sign a prenup.
Yeah. Don't ever trust
You
your
know
partner.
why? That's your partner. That's the person getting married. You might have children with them.
Sure, you can trust them,
Don't trust the
but just
person
make
you have
sure
children with.
you can trust them, but just don't let yourself become vulnerable to the
Never
extent of
have.
where you're going to lose all your stuff. You know?
You don't want to have that vulnerability.
No, it's a terrible idea.
Maybe. I mean, that's what Jeff Bezos did.
Yep.
And he's the richest man alive.
Yep.
Is he still the richest man? He lost a lot of money from that.
Elon Musk is the richest man alive, I believe.
Yeah. Because he signs prenups. He knows. He's in the game.
He has like
What?
10 kids or some shit.
Yeah, dude.
He has a lot of kids, man. Jesus, I can't
That guy
imagine
is
having
like a
that many
rabbit.
kids.
And they're all like, he got like 20 different. I think he has 5 different wives.
Yeah, he got divorced a lot of times.
Yeah, man. I think he's pregnant and divorced this wife as well. Dude, you want to make a bet that Elon Musk gets divorced?
$50.
$50? What do you think? That he does or he doesn't?
He does.
Oh, dude, I was gonna say that. I'm pretty sure he's gonna get divorced because every wife he has apparently feels like a trophy wife. Apparently, that's
Pretty
what they
much.
say.
Pretty much,
Like,
yeah.
oh, he's working all the time. I'm only home. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I take care of the kids.
Yeah.
Is it true that Elon Musk has a school? Like, this is another conspiracy theory.
He has his own kids homeschooled.
Yeah, but he doesn't homeschool himself.
Hmm?
He doesn't homeschool them
Oh
himself.
no, he pays a teacher to teach him, of
Yeah.
course. So there's
Right.
two different kinds of homeschooling, right? There's one where the parents is teaching, and then the one when they hire a private tutor.
That's a
Right.
private school, my guy.
Sure, I guess. During junior high, I got real sick, and I ended up doing homeschooling. My parents, of course, never taught me. I was self-taught.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that's actually real. I think I've talked
Yeah.
about it before. Yeah.
No, you've never told me actually.
Yeah, no. So during junior high, I was out of school for 2 years, and I
Scarlet
basically
fever?
took. No, my diabetes was getting a little fucky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah. So self-taught. I'd say I did all right.
Damn. What did you self-teach yourself?
English, math, science, basic shit, really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You didn't like learn the piano or the violin or something.
No, I knew how to play the clarinet as well as the alto saxophone.
Dude, you mean the fancy flute?
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
No,
You want to play the clarinet later?
I don't have it anymore. Nor do I have the
Why?
saxophone. Got rid of it. Stopped playing. I stopped playing years ago.
Can you bring up a snake from a basket?
No, but I have handled snakes before. Not venomous ones though.
All right. Well,
Snakes.
let's go to what I was going to say.
Okay.
What if I told you the products were made bad on purpose by companies to sell more product?
Explain.
Right? Look. You see how there's this theory that light bulbs were once created so they lasted forever. But if you make a light bulb that lasts forever, they're not going to buy it, a bunch of times. Did you break a glass in the background?
No, I think my dad dropped one. I'll be right back.
No. All right.
Actually, no, it's fine.
No, you can go, man.
No.
I will
Nope.
be here to show our sponsors to the people watching.
No, it's fine.
Sure.
You continue.
Well, what if I told you that the light bulbs were created in a way that they lasted forever? But then the company started losing money, so they all got together in Geneva and said, "Hey guys, what if I made a light bulb that lasts only a certain amount of time?" And they did. This actually happened.
I believe that
They
because
got together. Go on.
there's this conspiracy that like back in like the 60s or 70s or whatever, they found like this type of I guess cure in a way to where
Gotcha.
you wouldn't get like plaque on your teeth anymore, and it
Oh,
would kill the bad breath germs in your mouth, and then suddenly it just disappeared, gone.
yeah. There's so many things, so many revolutionary things, but they just disappeared. Like
Mhm.
there was this car they made that ran on water, but a guy he was showing it to a bunch of entrepreneurs, and he was eating this food, and then he died, and his last words were, "I was poisoned." So so many items are created by inventors who are just geniuses,
Mhm.
but then they sell the product, and the company shows it. They never show it again.
Hmm.
Look,
Interesting.
and that's what I'm saying with the light bulb thing.
I believe it.
Because there is a light bulb that has lasted for 127 years, and it's in a firefighter station. The light bulb has not gone out in 127 years.
That's
That is
nuts.
over 1,000,000 hours.
Yeah, that's nuts. I believe it too.
So, yeah, and because you know how iPhone, every time a new iPhone comes out, they make the old one last fast.
Yeah, they actually got sued because of that.
Yeah, and they still do it.
Yep.
It's good for business.
Yeah.
Because you're making so much more money from that little scheme you're pulling than the lawsuit here that you're paying off.
Yeah. Definitely.
So many companies do that. Even car companies make their cars break on purpose. So you'd buy a new one. For example, Ford, he created his Model T car, which was supposed to be for the average person. But after he sold those, the next year, nobody was buying cars anymore. So the car companies started losing so much revenue. So they learned to make products that have a deadline.
I can believe that with
And
certain
that's how we're getting
stuff.
screwed.
Yeah, I can believe that.
We're all getting screwed with our products. We're not getting the very best because it's not good for profit.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's kind of weird that we live in a world where they would rather sell you worse stuff because it'd make them more money.
Well, it makes sense, right? You want more money.
It's good for profits.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyhow, you know how there was that big old conspiracy about these nuts going on about 5G towers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
What about
people would say like, oh, it gives you COVID, or makes you sick, or it's for mind control. And so a bunch of people started like destroying these towers, but not all these but people can't really tell the difference between like 4G towers and 5G towers, so they end up destroying a lot of 4G towers. And some of these people you're even like shooting at like employees installing this stuff.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, they were getting shot at. I think this was like in Australia or something.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
4G towers kind of suck. Because you have to be real close to them, and you can't be like behind the wall. Because these things are dense. These are dense, rays that are getting thrown at you. I mean, they're not dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
They're just dense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really they're really fast. Like if you were downloading a big game, you'd like to have that type of speed. Because you're
Definitely.
getting gigabytes, not megabytes per minute.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're gonna have to put one like in every corner of the street if they want these to work.
Yeah. Yeah. What other conspiracy theories you got?
Actually, before I go to my next big one,
Mhm.
there's this thing. So spies have to use shitty phones because if you let's say you go to like anywhere really,
Mhm.
and you're a spy, and then you connect to the network.
Yeah.
The state has access to everything in there, and even
Yep.
if they're not doing it manually, there's stuff with the state where they download everything from your phone to the network.
Yep.
Just automatically.
Yep. Snowden actually exposed that. What was that act called that was introduced right after 9/11? It was like the Freedom Act or something.
Patriot Act?
The Patriot Act.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty fucked up act. Of
Yeah.
course, they signed it right away because they didn't want to be, yelled
They
at
didn't want
and
to
look
be
bad.
ISIS.
Yeah, you
If
didn't
you-
want to be
yeah.
labeled as the bad guy, so they signed it
If
right
you, if
away.
you were the guy with common sense, you're like, bruh, are you working with ISIS?
Yeah.
And you don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. They
Well, my
basically
next
did.
theories.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I actually got a couple theories. I got a couple ones in here. Like, do you think there's actually any gold in Fort Knox?
I've heard about that theory. Yeah, there probably is gold. There probably isn't as much as they're saying, because obviously over time they probably sold it.
Look, during the Great Depression, the President of the United States ordered all Americans to give up every inch of their gold.
Not every
Something
inch.
now-
It was up to a certain weight they could only have.
How much?
I'd like to say it was. God, I can't remember exactly. It was like if you have more than $100 worth of gold, then you have to give up the gold. You can only have at most $100 worth of gold.
That's ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
if everyone has $100 worth of gold, then the price is basically nothing. Like, imagine if everyone in the United States had $1.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone just charged $1.
Yep.
I mean, okay.
Yep. I believe France, at a certain point, was wanting to pay off or collecting on their debts, or that other people owed them. So they said, "Hey, give us U.S. dollars," because at a certain time you could trade U.S. dollars for actual gold. So what they ended up doing was trying to suck a bunch of gold out of Fort Knox, and eventually the government caught on. It's like, all right, you can't do that anymore, because on the bills, on the bills on your money, it used to be like gold standard or whatever. So you could actually buy gold with your cash. Nowadays you can't buy government gold.
Look, so the thing is for every dollar you had, the government had $1 worth of gold.
Mm-hmm.
And now they don't do that anymore. They hopped up the gold standard, and then the value of $1 went down a lot.
Yep.
So people say, because the last time they actually showed the gold was like 50 years ago.
Yeah, and it was only one. It was only one tiny room.
Only one room. They're like, hey guys, we're gonna bring in one reporter, and that's it. Come in. Yep. And then they show the room. I'm like, oh wow, that's so much gold. I feel so good. And then they all leave.
Yep.
And that's it. Yep. But imagine that. Imagine if the president asked you to give up all your gold now. People wouldn't do it.
Yeah, no.
I imagine. So much stress.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of people didn't actually turn in their gold, or a decent chunk of them. Yeah. I mean, imagine. I mean, if the government's basically trying to steal from you.
I mean, it was before World War II, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was around World War II.
Because it was in the Great Depression.
Yep.
And people gave up their gold. That's ridiculous. Huh? It's the whole country's poor.
Yep.
Why would you give up your gold?
Well, it was the idea to increase the value, because if you have all the gold, then you increase its value. Right. You can set the price of the gold. That's the idea of it.
Didn't work very well because we didn't do it at the end. We just changed our mind midway.
Kinda. Anyhow,
right. Go on.
You know what MK Ultra is?
Well, oh yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest ones. It's basically this
I mean,
idea that the government was trying to use mind control on people.
and it's Incarnate is like a series of a bunch of different experiments, isn't it?
Yes, like the idea that they'd put you on LSD and strap you down and make you watch these certain videos that would repeat and eventually turn you into like a sleeper agent almost.
Yeah, I mean, also,
And this
they would do these
was,
experiments where they would get these prostitutes and get them to sleep with these guys and doze them.
I believe that.
Yeah.
And MK Ultra was 100% real because a precursor to MK Ultra was done by a professor at a university. And would you like to guess who one of the participants was who didn't realize he
Oh
was a
yeah,
part of it?
it was the Unabomber.
Yeah, Ted Kaczynski. He was a
Yeah.
part of that. He didn't realize it, and they showed that in the I think the Unabomber like TV show or whatever. It was
If you
on
don't know
Netflix.
who the Unabomber is, he bombed a bunch of places.
He set off a lot of bombs over the course of like 17 years, I think. Killed 3
Yeah.
people, injured like 26. In the idea of trying to start a revolution against industrial society.
You can read his manifesto, which he doesn't like to call a manifesto, but really is a manifesto.
Yeah. I've
So,
been reading it. I'm almost finished with it. It's
Blue's actually a supporter.
no.
So
No. Stop that. That's not
Alright,
funny.
my bad.
That's not even
No?
funny. No.
you don't want to be an FBI list?
No, I do not.
Okay.
But yeah,
there's a lot of
it's an
people-
interesting book. I would strongly suggest people read it. Because to understand what he was thinking at the time, I guess
I mean, yeah.
it's pretty fucked up. But yeah. So that was nuts. There was also this other test, the Stanford prison experiment. You ever hear about that one?
Oh, the prison experiment? That was brutal.
Yeah, that was brutal. Basically, they took all these college kids, right, and made like half of them guards and the other half prisoners. And over the course of several days, these quote unquote guards would become more and more brutal and demeaning to these participants to the point where they began
They were
having like
humping each
panic.
other.
Yeah, they'd have like panic attacks. It was getting pretty bad, and the only reason they
Yeah.
stopped was because the one of the professors overseeing it, his girlfriend walked in because she was also a psychology major or whatever,
Yeah.
and she was like, "Hey, this is fucked up. You need to stop right now," because obviously it's also very illegal and could get them
Yeah.
sued to high hell.
Yeah.
So that was
There was
crazy.
a psychology professor with some psychological problems, it appears.
Yeah,
He let
But-
it happen. Like, he was watching.
yeah, but it's the idea of all these people are completely normal, and you give some people a little bit more power than other people, and
Yeah.
it turns them into complete monsters.
Yeah. And some of the people in the experiment are still alive.
Yeah.
You know, there was this guy. He got away with a bank robbery because the professor of the Stanford experiment wrote, "Oh, this guy was like a mindless zombie during the whole process." Because he was robbing a bank with a fellow soldier and a sergeant. So he one of the brother of this guy wrote a letter to the Stanford prison experiment professor, and then he said, "Hey, my brother was just following orders." And then the guy he wrote a letter back saying, "Yeah, that's so true. Blah blah blah. Based on my experiments." He goes to the judge. He says all this stuff, and the guy gets away with murder. A year later, well, not murder. I mean bank heist. But and then a year later, the soldier who got away with it. I don't know if it was a year later, but he confessed to it, and he said, "I knew exactly what I was doing."
Yeah.
When you robbed that bank.
Yeah. Well, that's why you have the thing nowadays where you have the right to refuse an order if you believe it's unlawful and shit like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah.
Let's see, what's another one here? Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself?
No, I think the Clintons killed him.
Yeah, dude.
Right, because
Clintons are,
well,
go on.
yeah, like a lot of the people around the Clintons like just disappear. I think Steven
Yeah.
Crowder was recently talking
Killed?
about it. Like no.
Okay.
How one of her like campaign managers, quote unquote, disappeared, and they looked for her. They couldn't find her because she was staying at blank address. They went to the address. They're like, hey, we never seen this person before. So then a day later, the address changes to a completely different one, and then they go to that one, not there, like either.
Dude, so many
Like people are disappearing.
Hillary Clinton people shoot themselves in the back of the head. It's crazy.
Yeah, 5 times tied up.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, like the idea, like I believe she was actually at Epstein's Island at one point, which is probably
Yeah, so
why,
many people.
he, they killed him.
Dude, imagine just you're just like a worker, like doing electricity, and you're like, I've been to Epstein Island. You get so much scrutiny for that.
You'd probably get interrogated pretty bad.
Yeah, man.
It's kind of
Like
crazy
I
how
was,
rich and powerful he was though, because whilst he was in jail, he was still able to get access to like
oh yeah,
you know underaged individuals
yeah,
undergarments.
dude,
Like
bruh.
that's
He was
insane.
getting laid with children in jail. Like, wow, this guy had
Imagine
some
being
real
that.
influence and a real problem.
Imagine having that. That's insane. I would say it's absolutely disgusting, but
That's like, dude,
imagine how
that's
much
like
power that is. That's insane.
that's Pablo Escobar power, dude. Like
That is.
Pablo Escobar designed his own prison and
Yeah.
made it a resort.
Yeah. He
Like,
literally
imagine that.
he had the power to introduce hippos to South America.
Yeah, and now South America has a hippo problem.
Yeah.
There's so many hippos in South America now because
Yeah.
they got away,
It's absolutely crazy.
dude. And then is this girlfriend or secretary still alive? She is, right?
Who's?
Jelaine Maxwell.
No idea.
I think she is.
Could be.
I think she's on Suicide Watch as
I wouldn't
well.
be. I wouldn't be surprised if she tried changing her name and getting a new identity and everything. I want to get away from that.
You know, you ever hear of the Bilderberg meetings?
The what?
The Bilderberg meetings.
No, I don't think
They're
so.
pretty secret, but I know about them.
What
And
are
I
they?
might just be killed for them. Look! I gotta whisper them.
Mhm.
They might hear me, even in Mexico. Uh,
Mhm.
So a bunch of powerful people, like the president. Even if you're not the president, you're just like a random guy, but you have so much power. They go to these mountains, and they go in a meeting. And they wear these little robes and stuff,
Oh, yes.
and
Those
they all
people.
talk, and nobody knows what they talk about.
Basically,
all-
the people that control the world, quote unquote.
Yeah, like, it was like the German Chancellor Obama was there, the first black conspiracy Illuminati man. It was crazy. Big achievement for the secret society.
That's nuts. I believe actually in Hitman 2, the video game, you actually play a mission that's about that.
Oh, really?
Called
What, you kill?
and it's called the Arc Society.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
They call it the Bilderberg meetings.
That's nuts.
They all get together and get in a big nice round table circle and talk.
Could be possible. Could be real.
What does he talk about though?
I don't really know. I wouldn't be surprised though if like super rich
Those
people
Freemasons.
like
Really
Epstein,
screwing us up.
not Epstein. God, what's his
Oh,
name?
Epstein was probably there. I don't know.
Probably like basically anyone that's like insanely rich to the point where like you don't have to think about money like ever. Like if you died like 1,000 times over, you'd still have enough money to live. You know, like
Yeah, man. You gotta have like Batman money.
yeah, that's Monopoly man money, man. That's
Yeah.
that's some
I
crazy
feel
amount
like
of
there's
power.
one Monopoly man in the world.
There probably
I feel
is.
like there's a real life Monopoly man.
Well, there was this oil tycoon in America, and that's where they why they had to implement the monopoly laws and shit because he was so insanely rich.
You mean the Rockefeller guy?
Could be. He was like an oil
He was around-
tycoon. He would like buy up more and more and more land to the point where no others could compete with him.
Yeah.
He could like directly impact the market.
Yeah, dude. I
Yeah.
mean, anyone can do that nowadays. Like, like Elon Musk tweeted, Doge going to the moon. Next thing you know, Doge going into the moon.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know that's illegal.
But that's
Some
him.
people consider it illegal.
But that's him trying to like influence other people, whereas this guy
Yeah.
could just do it
Well, I mean,
off
it's
the bat
basically
on
the
his own.
same, right?
Not really, because
So many companies still do that either way.
yeah, definitely.
You know, there's a bunch of little like trading firms that all like they have a little network where they all talk to each other
Mhm.
and say, "Hey, guys, you know what would be crazy if we made this thing go super high, and then we all invested before it went super high, and then we make a lot of money, right?" Like they got their own personal money making machine, which is the stock market.
Hmm.
If you're so rich, you're pretty much making your own money.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
All right, so I got one last one,
All right.
and it's about flat earthers.
Oh.
Now, to start this off, basically, flat earthers believe, well, that the Earth is flat, that it's not round. And what's weird, like,
Yeah.
it's really weird because this would entail, again, a giant, massive government conspiracy where everyone is remaining silent, right? To the point where this is probably in like the tens of millions of people that are remaining completely silent. They know the fact that the Earth is flat. No. Now, I had a debate with my psychology teacher about this in high school because he was actually a flat earther. Yeah. So that was a bit weird.
So,
But
is it flat? You haven't answered the question.
no, it's not flat.
I don't
Because
know. I haven't seen
there's
it
a
yet.
couple ways to easily prove it. If you ever flown in a plane, Biscuit?
I have not.
Okay. Well,
No.
basically, if you end up flying high enough, you can actually start seeing the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to get a laser and point it,
Yeah.
eventually the laser is going to disappear.
Yeah.
It goes into
And
space.
yes, and there's also the idea that, or the fact that, you know how like we have time zones, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have time zones because the Earth is the way it is, right? It's not because it's flat. Because if it was flat, then we'd all live in the same exact
We'd
time
only
zone.
have 2 time zones.
We'd only have the one time zone.
No, we'd have 2.
No.
Yeah.
Because
then you got
the flat earthers don't believe that there's a bottom to the. We just think we're on top.
I think
and
you're
that there's an edge.
generalizing all flat earthers here. I think they all
Okay.
have different theories,
Sure. Okay. So let's say there's just 2 time zones. But basically the idea is
this
like
thing.
even like way back in like before the medieval era, they knew that the Earth was round because you could put like a stick in one spot and a stick in another spot, and the shadows would be like completely different based on the times, right? So
Columbus thought the Earth was like an avocado shape for some reason.
yeah. Well, I mean, the Earth isn't. To be fair, the Earth isn't like a
He thought the
complete
Earth was smaller
sphere.
than it
It's
was.
not. It's not a sphere, right?
It's an obloid or whatever.
Yeah. It's kind of like a circle, but not really.
It's not a perfect circle, but it's pretty much a circle.
Yeah. Exactly.
He knew that the Earth was the size, or he thought it was like a different size. So he was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go around, and I'm gonna get there." But if you were a mathematician, that'd be too far away. There'd be no point.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing over there.
Yep.
Until there was something over there. There was a bunch of people doing their thing.
And then he brutally massacred millions.
Yeah. He went to jail for that?
I believe it.
When he came back, the guys were like, "Bro, we're supposed to like get their going. What are we gonna fight them? There's like a billion of them."
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, okay, we put them in jail. Maybe they'll be a little happier." Nobody gave the damn over there. They're all dying of disease when they got back.
Yeah.
So he actually was in prison for like a couple of years, but then they kicked him out of prison.
Yeah.
Because he was old and dying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he then died.
Yeah, there's like conspiracies that like we purposely gave like natives smallpox and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, how
But
would you know?
Yeah, no. So basically, what was happening, right, was during the winter, right? We ended up giving them some blankets because it's like a trade thing. You trade some blankets for this, and of
Give us
course we
blankets,
didn't.
we give you cocoa beans.
Yeah, and back then we didn't really realize, hey, that had smallpox on it, and then they ended up getting smallpox. So everyone assumed, oh, they purposely did it. No.
These blankets were laced with smallpox. How dare they?
Yeah.
How dare they give us a blanket laced with smallpox? That's a weird item to give.
Yeah. Yep.
Give this man shoe. It's laced with explosives. Okay, it's blowing up his feet. Cool. You'd probably okay.
That's
All right,
nuts.
what's the last one? Let's see. Look, this is last theory. Before we leave, because I have 9% on my, actually 8% on my phone, and is if the medical world could cure all diseases, would they?
No.
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 Because cancer is $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
If you were to cancel cancer, you'd lose billions of dollars.
Yep.
Like
Definitely.
there's pharmaceutical companies that base their budget on people with cancer needing treatment.
Yeah.
So if they did cure it, they're like, well, I mean,
if they came out with a cure, they would have to make it an insanely high price.
You know what I've never noticed?
Hmm.
No incredibly rich and powerful man has ever died of cancer. Well, I mean, they have.
I don't imagine.
Not in a long time.
I know.
No one in the Bilderberg meeting has died of cancer. That thing's been going on for a long time.
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
I also want to see that plane thing you were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah.
That sounds interesting. I want to listen to that. But yeah, no, that's
His last words were, "That's not an aircraft." Bada bing, bada boom. We never saw him again.
actually a pelican.
People thought he was flying upside down near the ocean, which is why he was seeing the bright light, which was the aircraft.
Hmm.
Or people think, because he was an experienced pilot. He flew for years.
Mm-hmm. That's nuts.
So, yeah.
Yeah. You got anything else, Biscuit?
Dude, I got a couple. Let me see. Lizard people. I don't know if you want to do that one.
It's up to you.
Or the Elisa Lamb disappeared. Oh, dude, this one's pretty good. The Roanoke colony.
Ah, yes, the Roanoke colony.
You know what happened there? It was the first colony ever put in America.
Yep. You just cut
But
out.
one day,
Oh, there you go. Yep, you're good.
it was the first colony ever, in America by the British.
Yep.
And then one day, well, not one day, these guys were struggling for a bit, and they're like, hey, actually, the first child was born in the Roanoke colony. The first British child was born in the Roanoke colony. And then they were struggling because it was the first time they'd been doing this. They didn't have, the exact supplies. So, oh, we need some more blankets and stuff. Go back to Britain, get us some blankets. And, the British were about to fight with Spain. He couldn't get back until 3 years. He came back. The whole town was empty. There was no one there.
Yep.
No dead people, no burial sites, no messages except for one word carved in a tree. And the word was Croatoan.
Yep. What's that word mean, by the way? Yeah.
I don't think it has. I think it was a village nearby, but that they went to that village. There's nothing there.
What was the name that you said?
It was like an island.
No, not
Roanoke.
Roanoke. No, the word that was carved into the tree.
Roanoke. That was the word. I put it in one of our topics.
Roanoke colony. Let me look here. Roanoke.
There was only. Oh yeah. On his map, he made a map that was the most. Because okay, look, the guy who left to Britain was named John White. The man who went to Britain was named John White, and he left his daughter in the colony, who was the first person to give birth in America. And when he came back, he found nothing. And this guy's only remaining family is his daughter and a child, and he couldn't find them. He looked all over the island. He actually made the first map of America that was incredibly detailed.
Nuts.
But when they were finding it, they found this thing. That's almost like National Treasure, where he made a star, but then he covered it, and people would say it was like a fort or something, because that's how people would draw forts back then. And the theory is that the Roanoke colony joined the Native Americans because either war or they were starving, but eventually they did. Probably that's the theory.
So
because there was no burial sites.
I just looked it up. The word actually is a combination of two Algonquin words meaning talk town or council town. Croatoan. That's interesting. But yeah, I don't think they died. Or I mean, eventually they did die. But I imagine what ended up happening is, they ended up either moving away to a better location or...
My theory is he found the colony, which where his daughter stayed with the Native Americans. But if he brought it, if he told everyone else back in Britain, the British would raid the whole Native American camp because you couldn't do that back then.
Could be.
You couldn't mingle with the natives.
Could be.
Yeah. So if he went back to Britain, everyone who was part of the Roanoke colony would be executed.
Yeah. I could believe that.
So he covered it up, and they only found it when he flashed the light under the map. Yeah, like National Treasure.
That's intense. That's cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I'd say that's probably your last thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thank you all for joining us on the Outhouse podcast. Thank you, Zombie, for joining us for the short period of time that you did. This was episode 6. Episode 4, 5, 1 through 5, or 1 through 5 are already up on YouTube. Episode 6, which is this one, should be up on YouTube sometime within a couple days. If anyone has any question,
you can give thanks to Blue for the wonderful editing that he's doing. And yeah,
yes.
hope you enjoyed.
If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please do let us know over on our Twitter account or Discord channel. If you'd like to see us discuss future topics, please do let us know on one of those two applications. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye. See you next week.
And
Bye-bye.
see ya.